Do you love to make things but don't want to spend a lot of money on materials or tools? This might be the place for you. Welcome to CT&HG, cardboard, tape, and hot glue. For CT&HG's first project, I decided to make some easy to make cardboard letters that you can use for decoration or to make a sign or whatever you want to. A while back I made a couple just to try out. An M for Mark, that's me, and an S for Sparkuus. That's me. At first, on a scale of practical to decorative, I thought I would rate this project as completely decorative with no practical purpose, but you could use it to make a sign to display information to people as long as it's somewhere that it won't get destroyed by wind and rain and whatnot. So I have to back it up just slightly. I guess it's not 100% decorative, but there's not really much practical use for it. But someone could prove me wrong. It's not hard to do. Let's get right into it. For this project, I decided to make a K. That's for my wife. You could, of course, freehand draw a letter of any size and design you want, but I started by making a new A4 sized file in GIMP. I chose the size and font I wanted to use, then selected and erased the center of the letter so I didn't waste ink when printing it out, exported the file, and printed it. Cutting out the letter should be done slowly and carefully, or not, it's up to you. Either the cutout letter or the remaining paper could be used as a template. I went with the letter. The leftover paper would be easier to use for letters like lowercase I or J. Just go with whichever works. Carefully trace the template onto the cardboard, then cut out your letter. Twice if you're going to make freestanding letters like me because you need a front and a back. Then I decided I wanted to make one for each member of my family, so there was a lot more printing, cutting, tracing, and more cutting. You could just cut out more and more of the same letter and glue them together to make a raised letter, but I think side pieces are faster. I chose a width of 2 centimeters. How many of these strips you need depends on how many letters you're making. You could measure the perimeter of all your pieces and cut accordingly, or you could do what I did and just cut and cut and cut and cut and cut strips until you have way more than you'll ever need. Now it's time to plug in the hot glue gun. I just use a cheap Daiso 100 yen shop glue gun and glue sticks, and they work fine. Simply glue on the side walls following the shape of the cut letters. You'll probably have to pre-bend pieces that will be curved. A scrap piece of cardboard with a 90-degree corner comes in very handy for getting the first few pieces you glue on nice and straight. Once the outside edges are finished, I like to cut and glue internal braces just to make things a little stronger. I don't know if they're necessary, but they definitely don't do any harm. I put glue along the bottom and a big bead of glue at the bottom of either side, so as you slide the piece down in, the glue spreads nicely. Once the framing's done, the top piece can be attached. If you have a cheap glue gun like mine, you probably won't be able to get glue on every edge before running out of hot glue. But that's not too big a problem. You can strategically glue edges, put the top on, then squeeze in glue from the side where it's needed afterward. Or you could assemble the edges on the back side of your top plate and cut the back plate into different sections to glue it on if you want to, but I didn't end up having to do that. Once all the glue cools, the letter's done. I now have my family's initials all done. I just have to decide exactly what I'm going to do with them. I thought of making a board like a family tree, or making them into freestanding pieces that you could put on a shelf, or maybe I'll just connect them together to make a piece you can put up on the wall. Whatever I do with them, I think they'll first need a little bit more decoration. There are lots of options there too, of course. I might cover them with origami paper, or paper mache and paint, fabric, glossy magazine pictures, a combination of those, or something completely different. I haven't actually decided yet, but when I do, I'll share how it turns out, of course. I might ask each person individually how they want their initial decorated, just to personalize them a little more. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you'll come back for more making videos. Please post any questions or comments you have down below, and check the links in the doobly-doo for other good stuff like my Patreon page and a coloring book. And hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. So see you back here next time for more cardboard, tape, and hot glue. Come to think of it, there wasn't any tape in this project. Don't worry, it'll show up later.